Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. It's Fatmata here from Traditionally Inspired Meaningful Art, and today we're going to be talking about my goals for 2022 as they relate to sewing, but also this very channel. So thank you all so much for joining me. Let's dig in. What I'm wearing today is Simplicity S8875, my favorite dress. I made this for my birthday. The fabric is from Guinea. My mom went back home to Guinea this summer and brought me back this lovely fabric, and I made the dress of dreams. I made it the night before my birthday, and it was picture day at school, so I have my awesome staff photo in this. I love it. And in the back, I have an invisible zipper that is like beautifully done. The fabric is so well pattern matched. I'm very pleased. Let me see if I can turn around. It's quite tight. Can you see that? Can you see the pattern matching? I don't know if you can see that. Anyway, I love this dress. I plan to make more this year. It's like a fave. One of the things that I did as I reflected on 2021 was just take account of the things that I really enjoyed about my sewing practice and the things that I think were not as beneficial to me and left me feeling kind of defeated, deflated, or otherwise unsuccessful. So I want to stop some of those practices and then pick up other practices that will allow me to feel better about being in my sewing space. So some of these goals refer to some of those things that I saw, and I will definitely let you know as we get to them. This is in no particular order, but I will be referring to my notes. So if you see me glance down, that's what I'm looking at. I wrote these a little while ago, so it actually will be nice to kind of jog my own memory. I know that they say when you're setting intentions, it's one thing to think about them, but you should write them down and then share them with at least 3 people. So if 3 of you comment down in the comments below and let me know that you heard me and that you're going to help hold me accountable, I would really appreciate that. All right, so to dig in within my sewing practice, one of the things that I want to do is to finish my projects. I'm embarrassed to tell you how many garments I have, how many projects within 2021 are unwearable because they don't have buttons. I didn't finish whatever closure they need to have. I got dissatisfied with the project and just left it as a UFO, or didn't know how to pivot or make it work or hack it or repurpose and reuse it. So it's just sitting there. There are a lot. Tamlin from Sewn on the Tyne, she actually has developed this like 5-prong approach to her sewing months, and one of the things that she's incorporated monthly is to work on one of her UFOs, which I was like, that's brilliant. So I might actually be borrowing that, because in 2020, one of the things that I did that I loved at the very end of the year, that sort of last week, I documented on Instagram my Get It Done Before 2021, where I finished, fixed, and finessed all of my unfinished projects from that year, from 2020. And I felt so accomplished, and it forced me to kind of dig in. What was the issue? Solve it. And if you can't, hack it. And if you can't, repurpose it. You know, and it really helped me get to a point of having completed projects that even if I didn't love them, I could at least give them away because they were done. Whereas right now, I'm left with a lot of projects that even if I am no longer as passionate or interested in them, I can't actually give them away because they're not complete. They're not finished projects. So in this year, I want to finish my projects. Moving on, my second goal is to get friendly with wearable toiles. As you can see in January, I am like living out this goal, living out this mission. And it really has taught me that some things are worth sort of investing in, and that's time, that's fabric, that's, you know, mental brain work to get the fit right. But some things, once you get it right, then you can do them over and over again with a lot more ease. Wouldn't I love that? Like, wouldn't future me thank this me for doing that? I think so. So that is a goal of mine, and I'm hoping to stick to that as well. Ooh, I like this one. I told myself, don't buy fabric that causes you to buy more fabric. So this is not me putting myself on a fabric ban. As you all know, I pay very amazing prices for most of my fabric. If I don't thrift it, I'm often looking in the remnant section at Joann's or the clearance section, or I go to my favorite place, G Street Fabrics, and often I'm shopping their sales or their $2.97 dead stock fabric section. So I don't like spend an exorbitant amount of money on fabric, but I also have brought in a lot of fabric, some of which I'm so I think the price gets me, and I'm like, this is amazing, I must have it. And there's not enough of it to make the thing that I would want to make out of it. But I convince myself, well, that's fine, just get it anyways because you love it. And we'll obviously find additional fabrics that you can like mash this together and do a color block or mixed print sort of design. So then I end up with 3 different fabrics that kind of go, and then I'm racking my brain as to how I'm gonna incorporate them all together, when really I could have just like Marie Kondo styled, loved that fabric in the moment and left it for someone else. Just leave it for someone else. There will always be more fabric. Mantra that I need to just absorb and remind myself when I look at something and it's not enough, but I'm desperate to have it. There will always be more fabric. It's okay that this one didn't work out. Leave it for someone else. And the right fabric in the right quantity will come and find you. I'm speaking to myself first, but if anyone else needed that message, that's for you. My next goal I wrote down was, so what excites you, but consider a practical approach. Will you wear it? Great question, Spotmata. Will I wear it? So I do want to sew the things that excite me. You've seen that with me trying out this new skirt with all of the flounce detail. Like, that excites me. And for some people, they're like, where the heck are you going to wear that? To the grocery store? To work? Anywhere that requires clothing? Like, I will wear that anywhere. I'm going to sew the things that excite me, and hopefully that is something that you look forward to seeing as well. Oh, okay, so this kind of like goes in line with that. I want to do more create the looks, like creating and duping designer looks and things like that, which again, the skirt that I've been kind of telling you guys about in my Friday sews is a part of that. And hopefully that can become like a series. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comments down below. If you are someone who is really just leaning into the casual and relaxed feeling, but you still really miss and love those sorts of things and are like, Fatmata, listen, I don't think it's for me right now, but I'm all for watching you do those things. Like, let me know, because I will do it for all of us, you know? I'm willing to volunteer as tribute. I will make all the fancy things. Next up, try and do more pattern reviews. So that's partly for me, but it's really for you all. I think oftentimes in my makes videos, I'm just like, yeah, I made that dress, like this dress. I think pattern reviews are a way that I can help spark inspiration for other people. I can also get more in depth. I think when I'm doing the makes videos, I feel rushed in some ways. Like, if I have a lot to share with you, I don't want the videos to be extremely long. So being able to take my time, really working you through maybe any alterations I made to fit my body or just for stylistic reasons, I would love to be able to share those with you a bit more in depth in case they are helpful to anyone who's considering some of the patterns I have sewn up. So hopefully you're excited about that. And if there are patterns that I have sort of worn or you've seen me make in the past and you want a bit more information, leave that link down below. But moving forward, I'm hoping to kind of, as I make things and really enjoy them or enjoy the process, kind of have a separate video where so this is a big one that of course a lot of my sewing YouTube friends have also included in their goals, and that is to shop my stash first. If you've been watching along in my Friday sews, you know that I'm already on it, but it is also just January. So keep me motivated. My stash is beautiful. It's abundant. It is legitimately overflowing. So I definitely should be shopping my stash first anyways. And that includes both my fabric and my pattern stash. Like, I went hardcore last year on pattern sales. I think I'm good. I think I have a lot to kind of get me going for sure. I have my Make 9 picked out, and I've kind of set those patterns in a designated, very visible place in my sewing room so that I'm motivated to reach for them, hack them, do what I will, you know, but use them. Oh goodness, just use them. So that is my plan. And I actually, in addition to that, have seen so many people using sort of digital methods to catalog their fabric. I know I did a video on this channel of how I'm currently cataloging my fabric, which is analog style. So I keep them on little post-it notes in a booklet, but that's not always the most practical, I'm finding. So I would love to have a digital catalog of all of the things that I have, particularly for the patterns, because I'm finding it extremely challenging to find a way to not only store them accurately, but also to have them in a useful way. Whenever I think about putting them by type of garment, dresses, so I can just go to the dresses. Well, some of my patterns are tops and dresses, or a top, a dress, a vest, and a pair of pants. What do I do with that? You know, and then you have another category that's like mixed items, and that is just not helpful. So I would really like to have it digital so I can tag them for every single type of garment, and then they show up in all of those different categories, you know? I was watching Adele's video from Sewing for Serenity, and I will link that down below. But she was talking about this like color analysis thing. Now, I'm not new to the idea of color analysis. Whitney from Tomcat Stitchery is like obsessed with talking about it. Hilla from Saturday Night Stitch just got her colors done, and her video is fantastic. I'll link that down below as well. And they just rave about being able to select their fabrics more thoughtfully, to just enjoy the process of sewing and having everything kind of go together and light them up and all of that. And I'm like, I want some of that, because there are certain colors that I just don't reach for ever. And it could just be that they're not my colors, but to have that concrete, like, oh, that's why I've never really gravitated towards like lilac purple, you know, like that's not, I don't feel like it's my color. But recently I've been really drawn to teal. And I'm like, I always feel my best in jewel tones. Like, that's just been a given. There are certain colors you put them on and you know that they work for you. I don't need a color guru or a swatch of colors to tell me that. I know what I love. But when you're buying fabrics, there are certain fabrics that will come in different color ways, right? You love the print, but they'll have it in this tone and other, you know, like flavors of colors. So it would be really nice to like have a palette of colors that I can refer to and say, you know what? I'm gonna pick that one. I would love to do that. Adele from Sew for Serenity had linked to a free color analysis thing that I think, Hales More Sewing might have been the person that she had heard it from. I don't want to get that wrong. I'm going to put it on the screen. I'm going to link it down below. If you are so interested, also go. I did visit the website. I will be honest with you. I didn't see a lot of representation of like people of color on there. So that's something that I'm always kind of curious about with the color analysis, just because for African Americans, for people with deeper skin tones, I just want to make sure that they have the ability to also match for us, you know? And I don't always see that represented whenever I go to like a color analysis website. I see, or there'll be like deep skin and it's like someone with caramel skin, and I'm like, that's not deep. Well, that's not the deepest, you know? So I just think I would love to see more of a representation, and that always gets me really excited when I'm like, okay, they've done black skin, like they've done analysis for individuals with like skin tones like mine, and then I'm a little bit more like, okay, I'll give you a shot. But needless to say, it's a free app. I am definitely willing to give it a try, even if they come close, and then I can fill in the rest. So really excited about trying to sew more in my colors and having a more mix and matchable wardrobe. I know these are goals, but it was like I was writing a love letter to myself. Look at what I said. I said, you are capable of learning. You can go after larger and more complex projects. Thank you. Thank you, former me. If anyone else needed to hear that, that is for you too. Okay, gift from me to you. But we are capable of learning. And I think I know exactly why I wrote this. This is like in the midst of me doing all of these toiles for the S9114, the trousers. And just like starting the year being so intimidated by this idea of a fly front zipper. And then getting to the point where I could sew a fly front zipper without instructions. I was like, I can learn things. Like, I am willing to absorb the material. I'm willing to invest in myself and seek out the YouTube videos and books and gain the knowledge to do harder projects. And sometimes I'm put off by a blazer or a lined outer garment because I'm afraid of getting it wrong. I think it looks so complex. It makes no sense to me. And then you look at it in instruction and you're like, huh, okay. You just like sewed the seam and then you sewed the other seam and then you made sure that you were really, really specific right here. You pivoted the fabric and then you turned it inside out and look at what you got. It's fixed. And sometimes all I need to do is just see it in action, remind myself I'm capable, and go after it. But I also want to incorporate more of my finishes, my trims, and to incorporate the finishes that I've learned. So I've learned about Hong Kong seam finishes. I've learned about flat felled seams. I've learned about French seams. I've learned about using bias binding around necklines. And then sometimes when I'm sewing something, I don't automatically go to thinking about, hey, how do you want to incorporate maybe one of the finishes you've learned? How can we make this garment insides better? And I don't often include that in my like thought process when I'm going through how I'm going to execute the project. And I really want to spend, even if it's like a really small second, read through the instructions, see how they would have you finish it. Is it a facing? Could I swap that? Would it be wise to swap that for bias binding in that particular garment? Is it bias binding and I actually want a facing? Do I want to line the full bodice? Like, what are the things and ways that I want to see the garment finished? And how can I kind of get ahead and do that? I have a ton of awesome trims that I've been collecting mostly through the thrift store and also bias binding galore. So I want to start using some of those this year for sure. This one is a big to do. Take your measurements, all of them. That's what I wrote, all of them. And I know why I wrote this. For some reason, every time I make a bodice or a shirt, I have a gaping in the back of my neck. Like there's always like excess fabric and I don't know why. Every time I make a bodice on a dress, it hits at it doesn't hit at my waist. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting. And all of that, it could just be that I need to shorten the length of the bodice. It could be that I need to add darts or take out some, I don't know what's happening with is it a rolled shoulder, narrow shoulder? I don't know. But I also haven't taken my measurements to be able to make sense of any of that as it relates to the pattern pieces. So I need to take my measurements, all of them. Selfless sewing projects. Look at me thinking about other people. I think this is really coming from the final projects that I did of 2021, where I was sewing the quilts and the baby swaddle for my best friend and her younger sister. The rush of like emotion and satisfaction that I got from those projects. I mean, kind of, yeah, they were like far above and beyond a lot of the things that I made for myself. And that was really cool. Now, there was a level of sentiment to those particular projects because it was heirloom gifts. And I don't know that all projects will carry that same weight. So I'm not saying I'm going to be sewing for everybody. But I do think here and there where I can to sew for my daughter, maybe something for my husband. I have never sewn for him. I don't know. We'll see. Like those sorts of things that might be up my alley. So I'll have to see how I can incorporate those in the future. All right, so for my community and YouTube goals, the first thing that I want to begin doing that I think is so important is to begin commenting much more on other people's videos. First of all, it warms my heart every time each of you take out a moment to give me encouragement, a suggestion, just telling me how you feel about the things that I've shared with you in my videos. It really then makes it feel like I'm not just speaking into the void. It feels more like a community. I feel like I get to know you all a little bit more. You tell me about the fact that you used to own a fabric store, or you also love thrifting, or just so many things about fit and patterns that maybe you're willing to try because I've shared them. And it means so much to me that, of course, I have to then remember that everyone else who's putting themselves out there and taking the time to make these videos might equally be really excited to get similar comments, right? Of just my opinions, things that I'm thinking, how their video made me feel or impacted me, that sort of thing. I'll be honest with you, most times my day is so that often I'm just saving videos into my watch later playlist, and then I run them in the moments that I have when I'm washing dishes, folding clothes for laundry. Like, it's often when I'm actively doing something else. So I don't often think to take the screen off of expanded view, close it up so I can like and then go in the comments and, say it. But as I'm watching it, I am like cheering people on, like, that skirt looks amazing. What do you mean that pattern matching wasn't excellent? I can hardly see the pocket. Those seams look amazing. How does she always get that pressed so neatly? Or that fit is fabulous. So I'm talking at the screen, but of course, if I don't ever take the time to write it, that individual doesn't know how awesome I think their projects are turning out, or how I'm motivated by the things that they're sharing, or maybe a resource that they've shared is helping me in some way. And I think that is important that I take the time to do it. So whether I can't do it in that moment, but just clocking it for myself to go back and make those comments, I think is going to hopefully open up that door so that it does feel more like a community. Not only me waiting to receive comments, but also me being able to talk to other people on their channels as well. Next, I wrote down collaborate. I want to collaborate with other sewing YouTubers so much, other creatives out there. I feel like we have such a robust and fun community. And every time I see the collaborations where they're sewing one pattern multiple ways, or they happen to have the same fabric and are doing something, I'm like, I want to be a part of that too. And honestly, some of it is just reaching out and saying, hey, I want to be a part of that too. And also taking part in some of the challenges. I think that's how folks are getting to know each other more. I'm not sure how it happens, but I've always been curious and wanting to kind of take part in some of those. So if you are a sewing YouTuber and you'd love to collaborate, or maybe you've seen a pattern that I had in my Make 9 and it's in yours, or just something that you want to sew this year and you'd love to collaborate, please let me know. I think it's a great way to kind of meet other people, see how individuals can have such fresh and unique takes on the same thing. I just think it's awesome and a great way to make a great connection. So I would love to partner with someone. I want to apply for a fabric ambassador or affiliate program. And as you can see, that goal did not say I want to get one. I want to put myself out there and apply for one. I can't really control the outcomes, like that's not in my hands, but me feeling like the content that I create, the value that I'm able to add is worthy or enough to be able to partner with a brand that I really enjoy and to be able to use their fabrics in a meaningful way. I think that would say a lot to me about my growth and where I've come. I was kicking myself last year because when the Minerva Brand Ambassador Program was doing their calls, I talked myself out of it. I had worked myself up that I was going to do it. And then I think as I was reading more about what they were looking for, I told myself, well, I haven't been active on Instagram. I don't have a blog, and I'm just here on YouTube yapping away. And I didn't have that great of a following, all of those things. And I was like, I don't think I'm the person they're looking for. And I really, even if I didn't get it, I think the fact that I didn't even allow myself to try didn't sit well with me. So I would love to work my, like, if it was that I wasn't using Instagram, well, you better start using Instagram then, right? Like, I don't want that to feed into my reasons for not doing it. Whether or not I get it, that's besides the point. It's more that I'm putting myself out there and saying, hey, I feel like what I do and the way that I use fabrics and this material in such a creative way is worthy of you wanting to partner with me, and me sharing some of those makes with all of you. All right, so those were my goals for 2022, outside of remaining consistent and regular with my uploads. That's really going to be what I'm shooting for and aiming for. Hopefully you'll see that as you're kind of watching and coming back weekly, hopefully, to this channel to see what I'm up to, and you'll be able to see, she's really committed to this whole toiling thing, or using good finishing seam techniques and all of that, or utilizing her trim, or wow, she's really getting through that make 9, all of those things. But I think this is just one way for me to really commit myself and tell all of you and share with all of you what it is that I'm trying to work on. And I think, honestly, anyone who's watching this channel is hopefully rooting for me and wanting to see me live out some of these goals and see me achieve many of these things. So I really do appreciate that. If you have not already subscribed, please do. I have been really surprised as I've been watching folks' videos that I love and come back to week after week. And then I look down and I'm like, why is that subscribe button still red? Like, I obviously have subscribed ages ago because I watch every single week. And sure enough, there are people who I've just missed pressing the button. So if that in some way is you, just take a quick moment and look down. And if you want to check in and kind of see what I'm up to, please hit that subscribe button. And I hope you enjoyed seeing what my goals are. And if any of them are ones that you want to borrow for yourself, they are free. Take on the goals. You know, let's set our intentions. Let's make this an amazing year, not just in our creative practices, but just in life in general. Have a good one, guys. Stay creative. Bye.